What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Beautiful Vessels podcast. I'm your host, Cydney Terese, and I am so happy that you decided to tap into another episode. Now, before we get started, I have to explain what Beautiful Vessels is all about. This is a space for real healing conversations. It's about life experiences. It's for the woman that is on her faith walk journey. She's healing, she's rediscovering, she's trying to find out who she really is. But before we dive into this particular episode, I have to shout out the person that is going to be our guest. This is my sister cousin. She is family to me, literally my family, but I call her my sister. Her name is Nikki, also known as Shanique Beauty on Instagram. Now, me and Nikki go way back. I would say literally like since I was born. Right? So this conversation is going to feel like family. It's going to feel like us just two sisters talking and just really just diving into what it feels like to tap into healing, talk about life, talk about relationships, talk about the industry, talk about business, all things that you probably want to hear about. So if you are interested, make sure that you continue to watch till the very end. So Nikki, why don't you tell our audience a little bit more about you and your background? Who is Nikki?
Who is Nikki? Okay, well, Nikki, I was born in Arkansas, originally from Arkansas, raised in Houston, Texas. I am a mother of three, and I am a makeup artist. I'm in the healthcare profession, and I'm also into ministry.
Okay, cousin, let's start from the very beginning. What made you get into the makeup industry?
Okay, so it's a long story. No. Actually, before YouTube, social media came around.
Yeah.
It basically started off as an insecurity. As an adolescent, I struggled with hyperpigmentation. And so I was interested in cosmetics. Of course, we come from a spiritual background, so I wasn't able to wear makeup, but I snuck and did what I wanted to do. Somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So what I would do was I would take magazines. Back in the day, magazines was hot in the 90s and the 80s. And I would literally just admire some of my favorite artists like Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez. And so I would look at the eyes. And if there was like a gold shimmer, I would go into we had a CVS right across the street from my house, and I would go and I would look for like eyes in gold and shimmer, and I would try to match that color up.
Yeah.
And then I would purchase whatever in different spaces, lips, whatever, cheeks, and I would just go in the mirror and I would just play for hours and hours, and it was a lot of trial and error. You remember. It was a lot of trial and error, but what I can say is the beauty in it is I truly learned the art of makeup. One of the biggest things about makeup is product knowledge. So the only way you can find out is by purchasing it and just trying it out. So that was my beginning.
That was your beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So you pour into people on a daily. I imagine that you do this often whenever you work with different people and you're doing their makeup.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps you inspired to keep creating whenever you recognize that you are no longer being a makeup artist at that point in time, but you need to step out of that role and tap into life? What keeps you inspired?
During my appointments, or what are you saying? Like just in general?
In life, like what keeps you inspired whenever you are not being a makeup artist?
Okay, so what keeps me inspired, honestly, is my relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
He's my center. He's my everything. There are times when I question myself. There are times where I question my decisions in life. There are times where I overthink, because I'm definitely that. There are times whenever I underthink. I don't think enough. But the relationship that I've developed with him as I've gotten older is so sweet. And it's the best thing that I could have ever done. And so let me get to our background. So we grew up very spiritual.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is, as an adult, it's a difference between just growing up, being in church, going to church 2-3 times a day.
Yeah, a day.
Literally.
A day.
Being in a choir,
being on the dance team, being the usher,
everything,
the pastor's
everything, drill team, you name it. And so,
all the streamers, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah, we did it all.
Yes, and we was up. Yeah, and for us to be sister cousins, our family members, they like stuck to each other. And so like one moved to this church, and well, it was only one church, one other
Yeah.
church. We all went as a group. But I say all that to say, the difference in then is that I knew who he was. But through life circumstances, things happen.
Yeah.
In my life, I've went through, motherhood. I've went through a divorce. Finances, I've went through finances where they've been down and they've been up. Just a transition with jobs, transitions with different states with my prior husband being previous military. So with that, sometimes it'll take a toll on you.
Yeah.
Mental health, it definitely can take a toll on your mental health. One day you feel good, the next day you may not feel like your best self. You may not feel like showing up for your best self. And so my relationship with Christ is so sweet and simple. And that's the thing. And I want to make sure I point that out because it's just like I'm sitting here talking to you.
That's beautiful.
And it's a lot of people who, I'm not saying that he's not grand, but when it comes to their relationship, they never get their relationship started with him because they think that it's like this big grand deal. And it's just something as simple as before I pick up the phone and say, Sid, my day was like this.
Yeah.
I get on my knees and I say, God, my day was like this. And it's made a tremendous difference in my life.
At what point in your life did you recognize that you needed to really put forth God to be in this way in your life? Like, what made you feel like that you needed to make him more of a priority as a makeup artist?
Well, that's actually two different questions. So in my personal life, again, he's just my center of everything.
Mm-hmm.
As is related to my business, honestly, it actually started off when I was in El Dorado, Arkansas. It's a really small town where I'm from. And what I did not realize that I am whatever I practice. And what I mean by that is you can tell that I was journaling and that I was praying, that I was reading scripture, that I was serving because you had my studio. I used to have a makeup studio that was literally behind another salon. Mm-hmm. And I would just, honestly, I didn't market very much. It was just word of mouth and it was like an overflow. And I had individuals, they would always come to me and literally they said that my aura, just the ambiance, it was just peaceful. It was sweet. And before you know it, I'm pretty much like their therapist. They're telling me about their life. They're just venting. And they would say that I would make it so easy. And I had a way about me that I wasn't even aware of.
Yeah.
But what I love is it wasn't just about my clients leaving the chair. I feel like, and I've heard before, it's almost like they left with something lifted off their shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So you've created safe spaces for women to feel like themselves. You made me feel like I've tapped into my best self.
Absolutely.
In so many different conversations. And speaking of conversations, we've had so many personal conversations about walking with purpose. From your point of view, what does it mean to show up as a woman of purpose in the creative industry?
It means a lot. It means a lot. And let me just do this. I'm not even speaking from a spiritual stance. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying in general. It's almost like a brand in a sense. Okay. Only you don't want it to be fake. You want it to be genuine. You want to show up as the best version of you, not just physically, but integrity.
Yeah.
That's what you want to leave whenever you leave this earth, whenever you decide to quit your career or, pass it on to offsprings. So just for me, your integrity, that's number one. And then as far as walking in purpose is, for me, it's no motive. Whatever I do for someone, it is genuine. And of course, there's a business side to it. Of course, we have to make our money from it. But there also have been a lot of times that I'm not going to say too much, but I've done it just because, and I would never tell a soul. I've done it just because, I've told somebody, hey, come sit in my chair. It seemed like they just was having a bad day. I'm a woman. I don't always feel like my best self. In fact, today was a day for me earlier. But I don't always feel like my best self. But it's just a little conversations. It's just that let me add a little lip gloss. Let me put a little mascara on you. You're gorgeous. Hey, beautiful. That's actually a part of whenever you book with me, the first thing that it says, hey, beautiful, thank you for booking with me. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that it gives a lot of women, it makes us feel good about ourselves.
Absolutely.
Don't want to hear that you're beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, especially highlighting the name Beautiful Vessels. I feel like we are all beautiful vessels in our own right. So absolutely, I'm right there with all the beautifulness, honey. How do you balance being a businesswoman, a creative, and a mom all in the same space?
Child.
How do you do that? Because
Great
I
question.
imagine, I don't play all these roles, but I could just can imagine it has its times when it has stretched you thin. So how do you balance?
So just being transparent, there's
Yeah.
no balance. Just kidding. There's really never a balance. I'm just
Okay.
kidding. In all honesty, not to sound redundant, but making sure I keep God first. Honestly, it's planning.
Planning.
Waking up really early in the mornings. One of the things that I am re-entering into my life, I've done it before, but I fell off life. But I'm waking up early in the mornings, and I'm starting to finally get back to the gym recently. So check me out soon. Hopefully, I'll see a transformation. I was kidding. But waking up, creating a routine. Waking up early in the morning, open up my Bible, praying, reading scripture, and then straightening up the house, because we all know your house probably gonna look a mess whenever you're a mom sometimes. Straighten up the house, setting a routine, getting breakfast, getting them up. The earlier I get up, and then I can start off with my day. I notice whenever I decide to sleep in for that last extra hour or two, my day is chaotic.
Yeah.
Rather, it's me running out the house, and then whenever I come back home, the house is destroyed, and I've been exhausted from being outside, and I just want to rest. But then you got to look around, and the house is a mess. Or you may have called the kids and said, hey, pick up, and they may not pick up the way that we do as moms. So I can say it's never a balance, but the best thing is just routine, consistency, and just planning. Yeah.
That makes sense. So can you share a moment in your journey, professional or personal, where you felt like you had to push through fear or self-doubt?
Absolutely. Okay, so makeup was a part of me early on. And so it was something that I did behind closed doors. I actually introduced you to it, and your sisters, and pretty much everybody else in my family. You all would watch me put on my makeup, and y'all would just stand there like, and just watch me. Y'all would ask questions. And then later on, you all started experimenting yourself. But it was actually, I came back to you all, and I was like, I was really passionate about it, and I was searching for my purpose. And I've always heard that your purpose is always something that comes natural to you. It's nothing that you're gonna force. And I wanted to do it, but I was just so fearful. Well, what if I'm not good enough? I would always look at the major makeup artists, and their makeup just seemed, perfect. Mind you, that's before I found out that they add filters sometimes. But I say that to say, I was looking for perfection.
Yeah.
And so I remember actually talking to Ashley, your sister, my cousin, and then my best friend, Ashley, and Courtney.
Yeah.
Your oldest sister. I was talking to them, and we pretty much talk often, so we know one another. And they was just like, "Hey, just jump, just do it, just do it." And I was like, "But." So then we started working on my my logo. And so we started working on my logo. Your sister, she's really good at artistry. So I created a logo. She created one, and we was passing it back and forth. We mixed it in and got the best of both worlds. And so from that point on, I think I just grabbed somebody, and I was like, hey, what do your makeup? And I did it. And whenever I did it, I posted it. And when I posted it, it went bananas.
Really?
It did.
I did not know that.
It did. It went bananas, and I was so nervous. And before you know it, people started literally inboxing me, can you do my makeup? Can you do my makeup? And before you know it, it was like boom, 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 boom. And I was doing it out of my house.
Wow.
Out of my house. And so what I did with the little money that I had gotten, I got on Amazon. I ordered my little makeup chair, ordered me a ring light, went and picked up some local, some products from the drugstore. And then of course I did go to the mall and pick up just a few items here and there. And I just let it roll from there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you basically recognized that you didn't have everything that you needed to start, but you felt this inkling on you to start. And I think I've said before on a previous podcast, we had spoke about what it looks like to basically tap into the thing that God calls you to do. Mm-hmm. And how you may not have all the answers, how it may look like it's vague, how you are stepping into fear,
Mm-hmm.
but how God will go and place you in positions and with people that will make you recognize that this is where you are supposed to be. And it's built through, the vision that they see already in what you're doing. They are drawn to what you're doing. They want to reach out to you. They're like, hey, when's the next thing coming? They're like, hey, Nikki, can you do my makeup? So I just think your community.
It's your community.
Absolutely.
And your community should always be your accountability partners.
Absolutely.
They're going to pull things out of you that you don't want to, you're not ready to pull out yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. So we've talked about beauty, and we've talked about this plenty of times, and how we recognize that beauty is deeper than what you may see on the outside. What's one thing that you've learned about confidence that you can actually advise to another woman that may be struggling?
Beauty starts with it, and there's no other way. So, let me remember. But I had a slogan, and it would be your own kind of beauty. Okay, so this is the perfect example. You and I are beautiful. But we're completely different. Even though we have the same blood running through our veins, we are completely different. So what makes up a beauty is not just all outer, but it starts within. And so what I've learned for myself is sometimes I look the best, amazing, and I don't always feel that way. And everybody else is like, oh my God, you look so gorgeous, but I may not feel that way inside. So it starts with truly working on your inner. Yeah.
Yeah. Beauty runs from the inside
Beauty.
out.
Yeah, beauty.
Yeah. Beauty runs from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone sits in your chair, what do you hope they walk away feeling? This is beyond the lashes and the glow and the natural glam that you give them. What do you want them to feel as they walk away from you?
I want them to feel, number one, I want them to remind themselves that they are beautiful.
Yes.
And then I want them to feel feminine, you know?
Yeah.
And not to bring back up makeup, but makeup is not new.
No.
So back in the day, around the time where Cleopatra, basically makeup defined your class.
Yeah.
And your hair. So if you actually had like red hair, red actually symbolized like royalty.
Yeah.
You know, no, we're not wearing red hair, but sometimes, but the way you would wear your makeup, the way you would wear your jewelry, it would define class. It was just a thing. I hear a lot of individuals that really, really dislike makeup, but makeup truly has a meaning behind it. But back to your question, I just want them to just remember who they are. Remember that they are a woman. It is okay to be soft. It is okay to walk in your femininity. It's okay to just love you.
Yeah.
Love on you, even the days that you don't feel like your best self.
And we all have those days.
Yes, we all have those days. And transparency, which I know is not easy.
No.
And what I can say is transparency is what helps me get through those days. I know it's crazy, but you're like, well, how am I supposed to be transparent? Like the days that I isolate, that's whenever the mind starts playing tricks on me. It starts telling you you're not enough. It starts to tell you that you're not beautiful. It starts to tell you that all these crazy things that is not you. God didn't create you that way.
Right.
So I think it starts with your mind. And then just get up and pick something up, whatever it is. I don't care if our grandmother, Darlene, shout out to Darlene. She would always tell us, and even on the other side, on Mom Rito,
Right.
They would just always get up, brush your hair.
Yeah.
Even when you don't feel good, just
Absolutely.
don't lay around. It has nothing to do with being bougie or anything like that. You just want to feel like your best self. And it's days where if I'm just in slumps and I don't look good, that's genuinely how I feel. And it starts to go down.
Right.
Days that I actually get up and I brush my hair, I don't even necessarily have to put on any makeup.
Yeah.
You know, I may do a little, walk in the park, may read a book or may journal. Those are the days that I feel like my best self. I'll use the new term self-care. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So before we close out, and although I have absolutely loved this time with my sister cousin, we have to cut it short. So I want to ask, what is next for Nikki?
What's next?
What would you like to share with the Beautiful Vessels community?
Well, I'm just going to continue to still grow my business. There's a lot of things that I've already done, and due to the transition, I moved from Arkansas back here to Houston. I put it on pause. So I will be having more makeup classes that I will be launching the dates, and I'll definitely keep you all posted. And I will, not only the makeup classes, it's not for only just self if you want to learn how to do makeup, but it's also for future makeup artists that want to learn how to do makeup on others.
I need to be on that class.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
She does great.
Honestly, and it's this episode just hits so home for me because I honestly remember the very first time I ever got my eyebrows done, Nikki did them. And I had to be about like 14 maybe. We were just playing around in makeup, but it's just beautiful to see how you've been able to grow and how I have been able to grow, and just the women that we have just been called to be, and how we recognize that our background, the way that we were raised, the women that were mentors to us, just the people that were involved in our lives have really just shaped have shaped the women that we are today. And my prayer is that this message, will reach a woman out there. You're able to see that there is beauty within yourself. You are beautiful, regardless of whatever flaw, whatever story that you may be ashamed of, no matter how just torn up you may feel in this very moment. There's beauty that runs deep within yourself.
Yeah, you have to tap into it.
Absolutely, you have to tap into it beyond the makeup and everything, although we do love to get glammed up. I mean, we're girly girls at the end of the day. So this has been a great episode. I thoroughly enjoyed Nikki's time with me today. Definitely have to invite her back. And I just hope that you all have received this message and it has blessed someone out there. So make sure that you tap into the Beautiful Vessels podcast continuously. Like, comment, and subscribe to this episode so that you can stay tuned for all the new things that Nikki has coming and brewing. I will make sure to tag all of her socials down in the post. And make sure that she's linked on this episode as well. So thank you so much for this time together. And as always, we are all beautiful vessels. See you next time.